Welcome to Peaking to Success, the podcast that delves deep into our guest success stories. The highs, the lows, the lessons learned, and if there's any exciting future plans lined up. Talking about future plans, Peaking into Success is proudly supported by Peak Wills and Estate Planning. We're here to support you with any future planning. Long gone are the times of solicitors in suits and ties and dark rooms and outdated practices. We are proud to offer a fresh and dynamic approach to the stuffy old world of wills, changing the way we talk about what happens when we die. But that's enough talk about death on a podcast introduction. It's time to pass you over to Peaking into Success host, Mr. Adam Kahn. Whose success are we peeking into this episode, Adam?
Thanks, Sam. Today we've got on a goalkeeper that has played for many clubs up and down the English leagues, such as Blackburn, Derby, Bristol City, as well as currently being at Stoke. We have on Frank Field.
And listen wherever you download your podcasts.
Hello, Frank. How are we today?
I'm absolutely good, Adam. How are you, bud?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. For anyone that doesn't know you, which is hard to believe, of course, round my neck of the woods, depending on how old they are, how would you sum yourself up in a nutshell?
What, as a person, as a player, as a...
Everything, just Frank in a nutshell.
I don't know, I sound a bit cliche, but I'm a dad, a husband, and just the football side of it is just a bit of like what I do, really. But first and foremost, for me, it's just being a family man and being a good husband and a brother, and that's it, really. I saw a podcast last week talking about that, and I think a lot of people just generalise it and just say that, oh, that's Frank Field in the football, and don't really know the other aspect of it. We're just normal people at the end of the day, aren't we? So,
well, that's one of my questions that I had later down, but I'll bring it up now. Of course, with the football side, and of course, you've had quite a lot of loan moves, and you kind of, if you looked at the map of England, you've been up and down, in the middle, everywhere. So, what effect does that have kind of on you, firstly, as well as, of course, do you take the family with you, or do you kind of have one place where they stay and then you just commute, or how does that work for you?
It's a great question. That I've done a bit of everything, really. We all moved to Derby. It was just me and my wife at the time when we went to Derby. We all moved to Bristol. Before that, I jumped a bit there. Before that, obviously, I was just, a young kid at Blackburn trying to make his way in the game, and was just me in my car and off I went. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Big stuff change when you start finding that person who you want to be with, or they want to be with you, and you take, starting at the root of the family, I suppose. And then when I left Bristol, I didn't know where I was going to end up that summer, and we decided, 2 kids later, with me and my wife, that we would eventually move home at some point. But it all just came together, and it was a natural instinct. And that was the summer that we all moved back together, bought a house up north where we're from, and then I ended up in London for 2 years. So I moved to London on my own and was toing and froing around that time in London and stuff, so I could just get back when I could get back. So when your answer to your question is, I've just done a bit of everything, really.
No, that's fair enough. A lot of footballers do different things, so it's just interesting to see, of course, because you mentioned the family so early on as what makes you up, what kind of your routine was. Did you commute or that? So it's just interesting, and it humanises you even more, if that makes sense. It makes it look like you're not on a pedestal as a footballer. You actually have to think of these everyday decisions of what's best for my family. So that's what I like to do. I like to humanise you.
No, it's nice. I think it's. I don't really get a chance really to say that out loud, and people listening probably get a better idea what footballers actually have to go through and stuff. But I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, you just have to adapt to it, don't you? But when go to the start of your original question, was that, like every decision that you make when you start having kids and you're married and stuff is around the family. And obviously, the football aspect comes into it because, that at the end of the day, that's what you do for a living. So, yeah, I've done a bit of everything. And, all I've tried to do is put the core of my family at the forefront of my mind in every decision that I made.
Nice. I think that's a nice way to kind of start and sum up who you are, that you're a family man and you are the same as everyone else. You've got your family, you're putting them first, and your career kind of, they follow you if they can, or you make it work with your career as well, which is really nice.
Well, I think it's important that you find the right person as well, if you're going to spend the rest of your life with that person, and then they have to understand it. And I've just been very fortunate that my wife does.
No, that's great. I mean, of course, with the whole footballing side, of course, do they come to the games or do they kind of just watch from afar?
I think they used to. They were there every week, but the kids are a bit older now, and I've got 2 girls, and they're not really that interested in the football bit. We hardly ever talk about football in the house, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah, they're not really that interested. They do ask the odd question, don't get me wrong, but no, they kind of just do their own thing at the weekend, and obviously I do, So no, yeah, it's weird. It evolves, doesn't it? I suppose it's just natural. Just try to let everything be natural, and
no, that's
I don't know.
Nice.
Weird way of putting it, but no, yeah, that's how we do it.
Fair enough. Linking back, of course, to the football, kind of people have different pathways that they can get into the game. Kind of, how did you kind of get into the footballing world, and how did you kind of break through? Of course, up north that you broke through and kind of find your feet that way. Of course, you did quite a lot of loans early on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think a lot of it is down to luck, meeting the right people at the right time. Signed scholarship forms at 16 at Blackburn, my hometown club. All I ever wanted to do was play for Blackburn. Had an absolute nightmare the first year as a scholar. Never really played halfway through that season. Fortunately for me, Mark Hughes became the manager. He fetched his goalkeeping coach in Kevin Hitchcock and just formed a bond with him. He took a real shine to me, and then a lot of the stuff at the early years was very much down to him. One-to-one training, mentoring, everything you can imagine. I got through Hitchy, and I don't know if he'll ever watch this, but no, I haven't really spoke to him for a few years. But yeah, he was massively influential at the start of my career, because I think that's the most important bit now. If any young footballer listening, like from 16 to like 21 now, like that's the you don't know if you're going to be a footballer in that era, in that period or whatever, and you need help along the way. You need a bit of luck, and I was fortunate that I got Hitchy and got my loan moves and got the games under my belt.
I mean, you kind of you went everywhere and anywhere, didn't you? You were kind of bouncing right down to Wickham, all the way back up to Leeds, kind of on your loans. Kind of, did you feel like all of them loans, of course, it was from over a 4 to 5 year period. So did you kind of see them loans as kind of shaping you, and you were learning off different people and different styles, or did you feel like, oh, I want to be at a club and kind of solidify myself as number one?
I think that obviously that end part of your question, that came when I went to Derby on loan, because I originally went to Derby on loan and absolutely got to that age, and I thought that this could quite easily be my home and I would love it. I think everything happens for a reason, innit? I mean, I went down to Wickham. I went down to Wickham, did got them 40 odd games in, and then went back up to Rochdale, and every experience that I've had at every club has led me to where I am now, I suppose. But them initial loans were really important. Held me in good stead for when I went to Derby, but I just got to a point in my life where I wanted to stop travelling and be a number one somewhere, and Derby gave me that opportunity.
100%. I mean, you originally came in, was it 2 loan spells before actually signing permanently? Of course,
yeah, so I did.
The first one was Bywater, wasn't it? Bywater and Soldini were injured?
That's right. I did the 2 months originally, and then I had to go back because Paul Robinson got injured at Blackburn. and my loan was coming to an end, and Stevie was getting fit anyway, and it just happened like perfectly for either side. And then they came back in for me. Did Nigel, the gaffer, came back in for me in the February time, but I made a conscious decision in my mind that they wanted me to go back on loan again, but I said, well, if you want me to come back on loan, I'm happy to do that, but I want to sign permanently at the end of the season. And they were, they wanted to do that as well, so it worked perfectly.
Perfect. So, of course, after Blackburn, of course, as you said, Derby was kind of your next permanent space where, of course, you made about 60 appearances for. So, of course, what was that kind of time is, of course, around then you had a really good squad compared to where we are now, and kind of you're building to try and get to the Premier League. So kind of what was it like being around the team, and kind of what was the mentality like?
The mentality was unbelievable. Just literally, and obviously that shone through from the manager, Nigel Clough, and it was just hard working, work hard, loved spending time with each other, went out and had a drink, at the right times, obviously, and we just had a bond. I think if you look at them 2 and 3 seasons that I had at Derby, I think we massively overachieved compared to what, competing in the budgets compared to the other teams in the Championship at that point. And that was all down to the stuff on the pitch, obviously, and stuff off the pitch, which just worked really well.
I mean, of course, when it was kind of the end of your time, of course, Lee Grant came in, and did you feel like, I needed to leave, and the club kind of sold you on, or was it kind of you thought, I want to be a first choice, so moved to Bristol City?
Oh, good question. A lot of stuff happened really around that time. Got married that summer, and I'd been sent off a couple of times that season, and I think I was still at a relatively young age, and I think Nigel just wanted to cement a really good number one in Lee Grant. I think I was 25 around that time, and Bristol City had just been relegated, and literally got a call off my agent and said, Bristol City are interested in signing you. I think it suited financially for Derby, and it was just the right decision. Although I didn't see it quite like that at the time. I was a bit gutted, to be honest. Yeah. But obviously I'd moved to the area, really liked it. Mrs. got a job in the area, and we both really liked it. And it ended up being a really good decision.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you spent around 6 years at Bristol City. Of course, it's your most appearances at a club as well. Yeah. So kind of when moving from Derby and being the number one and moving to Bristol City, was it kind of you were coming in and I am the number one, or was it like you had to fight for your place again? As of course, with Derby, of course, you came in because of injuries as number one. Was it the same at Bristol City, or was it fighting for your place kind of thing?
Yeah, no. I mean, if you look at my career, and you've obviously looked at it in detail, I've had to fight for everything, really.
Yeah.
And I always say that about people from Blackburn. Like, there's quite a lot of players that have come from Blackburn for such a small place who've gone on and had loads of have great careers, and they all have the same work ethic. And I don't know. I think it's just that the area breeds that into you. But no, if you look at, you've looked into my career and stuff, and I've had to fight for everything, and it's ups and downs, but I wouldn't have changed it for anything in the world.
No, and then of course you've kind of from there you kind of moved on again, and you kind of bitting and bobbing around now. Is there kind of a definite place where you kind of want to settle now? As of course it's turning into, like, for a goalkeeper, you're still kind of in the prime era, aren't you? Because they can go until 40 years old, some of them. So
no, yeah, I've got. I'm at Stoke City now, and I'm very much part of the squad there. I absolutely love it. And it's probably a bit of a different role than what I've got now. I'm more of a mentoring role now. I'm like the third keeper at Stoke, and I really enjoy it. That doesn't mean that I don't go in every day wanting to play. I train as if I'm playing at the weekend, but no. I mean, I had the initial period after Bristol at Milwall, and I was just threatened by injuries the whole time I was there. I had 3 operations in 18 months, and then I was just fighting fitness, and then I really just wanted to come home after that, having been away for 2 years during a COVID period as well. Ended up a 6-month period without a job, and again just got my head down and did my best, and went to Burnley actually to train at Burnley and keep fit in that initial period. They were unbelievable with me. Billy Mercer at Burnley invited me in, and I was ended up for 2 weeks. I ended up there being nearly 6 months until Stoke acquired about me. So yeah, and then I signed for Stoke for 2-3 months, and then I've ended up being there 18 months now. So no, I've really it's I don't know, it's a bit of a unique career really in that sense. But I mean, I'll go on as long as I can, like you say. Goalkeepers go till they're 40 or whatever, but I'll go on as long as my body will let me go on. But I still love it every day, and that hunger's never gone.
Do you feel like you've had to adapt your play style over the years to kind of, as you were kind of getting older, or have you kind of stayed the same with your goalkeeping approach since breaking through at Blackburn to now at Stoke?
I don't know. It's a bit quick. Like, you've got experience now from that first game at Wickham at Bradford away to. I mean, I went on loan to Salford and played 2 games about a year ago. So I don't know. It's just that I don't know. It's hard to put into words really, but I think it's just that experience that you've had, and that's why I'm pretty interested in the coaching aspect of it when I do finish, especially goalkeeping coaching. And I think that I could, help mentor and produce some good young goalkeepers coming through with my added experience of helping them. Nice.
Of course, I want to touch on your international kind of career as well. So, of course, how was kind of the England setup? And, of course, you trained with the first team as well, didn't you, in 2010? So, kind of how was that, and kind of what's the difference from, at the time you were at Derby, weren't you, to kind of the Derby setup and the Derby training compared to, like, the England camp?
It was a bit different, really, because obviously we had an Italian manager then in Fabio Capello, but I actually sat on the bench against Wales. I'd played for the under-21s on a Monday night, and then they had a couple of injuries, and I ended up sitting on the bench against Wales for the senior team on the Tuesday. I went straight from that game to that game, hotel to hotel. Sat on the bench against Wales that night, and then the next international break I got called up, which was that was the last international break of that season, and then the first international break of the next season where I'd signed permanently for Derby, and I was playing for Derby week in, week out. I actually got called up again, although I didn't get to sit on the bench, but I was away for 10 days with the England squad. Yeah, so it was 2 times I ended up getting selected for England, which is obviously an honour, and it's a bit like this question always comes up.
What's the differences then with the training compared to club level to international level, in your opinion?
I always think as a footballer, at some point you find your level, don't you? So, especially when you get to over that 25-year mark in your life, I always think that you'll find your level, but I don't really know what to say. Like, the training was just outstanding.
Who were the other goalkeepers at the time? Was it Joe Hart and...
Joe Hart, yeah. It was David Stockdale.
Okay.
So, they're just incredible. It was incredible to work with them, and Joe Hart was definitely in his prime then, you know what I mean? So, like, that he's not now, he's had a great career. He's doing amazing at Selkirk, but, it's good to watch live, you know what I mean, and learn from.
100%, and I mean, they'll help you develop on, of course, throughout your career, surely. We've kind of gone through a whistle-stop tour of your career there.
Sorry.
No, that's good. But, of course, what would you see as kind of your career high or your biggest achievement so far in the game?
A bit boring, really, but I just wanted to play football. I just wanted to play in front of a crowd. And that first game for Wickham, we won 1-0. I had a trial on the pitch before the game. because they had 2 injuries during the week, and I think the last injury they had was Thursday, and then they didn't have a goalkeeper for Saturday. So they got me and another big lad from Bolton called Kazmir Cech. We both met in the hotel on the Friday, and we both had a trial on the pitch at Bradford away, and the goalkeeper coach went, go with me to the manager, which was Paul Lambert, and fortunately it just worked out. I ended up playing every game during that season, nearly. I had a brief spell out because my father passed away, but when I was available, apart from that initial period around Christmas, then I had a full season there, which was amazing. I just wanted to play in front of a crowd, and that day just cemented it.
So you said, of course, playing in front of a crowd. How was it with the COVID era then, of course, and not being able to play in front of a crowd?
That was weird, really, because I was on the bench for Milwall in that initial period when I came back from my injuries, and it was just surreal, really. It was a bit eerie and weird.
Was it like a training? Did it feel more like a training session compared to an actual game?
Initially, when it first happened, yeah. But after a few weeks, it settled down, and I suppose you just adapt and you get used to it. But initially, yeah, it felt like training matches.
Of course, we've kind of focused on your high. Is there a defining moment that's different to the high that you feel like it might have elevated you to the next level, or a particular move or anything like that?
I don't know. I think I don't want to go off the. I think I'm answering this question correctly, but people will probably look back at me and they go, "Oh, Frank Feeling had all the potential as a kid, blah 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 blah, and he never really fulfilled it, blah 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 blah." And I just think if they actually know the story, I've had to absolutely fight for everything. I think I've not overachieved, because I think that sounds massively big-headed, but I'm still 35. I'm still involved. I still love it. I've given it everything. You know what I mean? There's nothing that I haven't. You know, every day I go in and train as if it's my last training session or whatever. But there's no particular law, because I think the highs always outride the lows. So you always have the highs in the forefront of your mind. And I don't like dwelling on the lows. There's been plenty of lows, don't get me wrong. Injuries and whatnot, and being away from your family. But I don't really like talking about it. But
no,
I just feel like I've been so lucky. That's all I feel like.
No, perfect. Of course, you mentioned briefly earlier when you were talking about kind of your role now, but what's kind of the plans for Frank Fielding going forward? So, of course, you mentioned the coaching. Is there any other ventures or anything you're kind of looking to dabble in as well as the coaching side?
I just feel like I've got loads to offer to be a goalie coach. I've also done a degree in sporting directorship. Okay. I've just literally done a master's in sporting directorship. I like the leadership aspect of it now. So yeah, I'm open to either of them roles, really. Ideally, I think I'd be better off being a goalie coach. I just feel like, and I'd miss the day-to-day aspect of it as well, once I hang my boots up. But I think talking to goalie coaches past and present, I think the next best thing is, having an influence and an impact on young goalkeepers coming through, and I'd love to be involved at some level at that.
Nice. Is there any kind of other ventures outside of the world of football that you'd want to kind of invest some time in, that you're interested in at the moment, or is it kind of just you're interested in the coaching?
No, I think me and my brother-in-law have been talking about a few things business-wise that I'd like to get involved in. That's going to involve like a care home program, and that'll come to fruition probably when I've got a bit more time on my hands. I don't want to be distracted at the minute from the football aspect of it, but I'd also like to do some kind of goalkeeping school in Blackburn as well. Okay. Give back to the area a little bit. That definitely, I've mentioned that to my wife a few times. That's definitely at the forefront of my mind as well.
Nice. The next question's kind of a reflective one in some cases, that if you could give your younger self one piece of advice to where you are now, what piece of advice would you give him?
Grasp every moment and don't take anything for granted.
Nice. I think that's a nice way of summing it up. Of course, there's a lot of young goalkeepers in there, and I know that not everyone can make their way. So of course, it's kind of making sure people are taking their opportunities. A lot of people just kind of become complacent nowadays and just think, oh, what will be. But of course, as you proved there and what you proved throughout your career, you've fought for every opportunity you've had. So that should be a good, like, kind of advert for yourself as well as people trying to become a goalkeeper or a footballer, that you need to work hard to achieve kind of
I think
the end goal.
Whatever you do in life, I think if you put your mind to it, I think you can do anything, can't you? Does that sound cheesy? But I think hard work and you put your mind to it, there's all kinds of possibilities, isn't there?
Yeah, very true. No, very true. Of course, looking back again on your career, is there any kind of thing that you'd want to do differently? So maybe there was kind of a move to a club that could have materialised and it didn't happen, or kind of wanting to stay at a club or anything like that you wish if you did it again you'd be like, oh yeah, I'll take that opportunity and move to there, or a loan move or anything like that?
No, not really. I've never tried to chase anything. I feel like everything should happen naturally. I've never tried to chase a move. I stayed, like I said, I would have stayed longer at Derby if they wanted me to, but obviously they didn't at the time. I could have moved halfway through at Bristol, but I didn't. I wanted to stay. I gave my manager the word, and it worked out perfectly. I did 6 years there, which is probably unheard of now in the modern game.
Yeah, that is true.
Plagued by injuries at Milwall, but that's not an excuse. And yeah, that's probably the only time where I actually wanted to come home after that initial period. The injury aspect of it was just, during COVID as well. I had 2 operations, one before COVID, one after COVID, during Project Restart. And I've never really tried to chase anything. Everything's just, come to fruition, and I don't believe in chasing things. I think, like, obviously, don't get me wrong, if you got your mind put on something, go for it, but I feel like everything works and goes into place at some point.
Nice. I've now got some kind of just random questions. Some are like football related, and then moving on to nearer the end there, they're just more generalised. So, who would you consider to be your goalkeeping inspiration? So when you were growing up?
Brad Friedel.
Brad Friedel, nice. So are we talking, where would he have been kind of as you were growing up? Was it more... Of course, he had Tottenham for a long time, but I don't know his career well. Kind of, where was he?
That's showing my age now, isn't it? No, he was our goalkeeper at Blackburn, so I was lucky enough to 3 years with him, watching him every day. So not only was he outstanding as a goalkeeper, as an outstanding person, and all the bits that you don't see, on a Saturday, you saw what he put into it during the week. I think that led me in good stead as well. But, I mean, yeah, I just couldn't have asked for a better role model growing up. I was so lucky to work with him.
Wicked. And wasn't Brad Friedel the keeper that had, like, the consecutive games in the Premier League? Like, he had the most in the run, yeah. So, I mean, it just showed that he had determination to play week in, week out, and no matter what is. I mean, there was the whole Saturday-Tuesday thing at that time as well that kind of was a factor when he played every minute, so it's a good inspiration to have.
Yeah, I mean, the way he conducted, looked after his body, the way he trained every day, unbelievable story, really, when he, how he ended up getting in England. I mean, I don't think he came to Blackburn until he was 30, and he ended up playing until he was 42, so that just goes to show you how much he looked after his body. But I think other teams will argue, but I think he played his best football for Blackburn.
Well, I mean, I unfortunately can only remember him kind of Villa and Tottenham, so the later end. So that's something I should look back on and try and see how he played when he was at Blackburn.
You were lesson, Anna.
Who's the best player that you've played with and also played against? So kind of just from kind of your point of view, like watching them on the pitch and being like, well, they're playing amazing, I'm glad I've got them on the team, and vice versa, or I wish they were on my team?
I was lucky enough to play with a player called Two Guy at Blackburn in a few reserve games.
Yeah.
He was a ball. He smoked 20 fags a day, and the things he could do with the football and run round was incredible. Never seen anything like it. Probably won't ever again now either. And like, I'm looking back towards my Derby era now. I'm going to say Sean Barker was unbelievable as well.
Yeah.
Unbelievable leader, captain, human being. Things he used to do, put his head in front of, and yeah, Sean's always stuck with me throughout. You know, still now as one of the most outstanding players that I've played with. Against. Been lucky enough to have a few cup runs at Bristol, and we ended up playing against Man City in the semi-final second leg at their place, and I'd probably say either Kevin De Bruyne or Aguero, but I'd probably say De Bruyne.
They're good players, so you've had the honour to play against them, and so no, they're good shouts. Is there a favourite stadium that you have played at?
Wembley.
Is that your favourite? Is that kind of the one that you hold like most?
Yeah. Everyone there, and it was just awesome. All my family, one of my kids. It was just awesome, and it was 76,000 people there. Yeah, it was just awesome.
Is there a dream stadium that you haven't got to play at, but you would like to play at? So it could be Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Is of course Derby have had some, like in later years, have had some runs there, but of course it just didn't coincide with you being there. It's of course
never really had a cup run at Derby at all. No, not in the time I was there.
No, they kind of only did it kind of later years, so like 2018-19. They kind of had a few and got like Chelsea and United, but no, we don't usually. It's usually like first, second round, you're out kind of thing.
No, it's weird, isn't it? Like, it was weird. That cup run at Bristol was just mad. You just built momentum. We had momentum that season as well, and it just followed through into the cup games, I guess.
And I mean, you got lucky to get as far as you did as well, so that's good, and you get the experience as well of playing further into a competition as well, which is hard to get in lower divisions if you're not in the Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, obviously the step up from Championship level to a Premier League is amazing, and I think we beat 3 or 4 Premier League teams that season as well we beat Man United in the quarters as well at home. So yeah, it's like I said, it was just that built up momentum, and it just followed through into the cup games.
No, that's wicked, and I mean, hopefully you don't know what may happen, but hopefully you might be able to play at Old Trafford and try and persuade Stoke to let you get on the pitch for a couple of minutes so you can...
That'd be awesome.
Is there, of course, you've had a long career, you've been here, there and everywhere. Is there a piece of football memorabilia or kind of a certain shirt that you've got that you kind of hold dear in like your collection?
No, I don't at all, no. I just don't really value material things, to be honest.
That's fair.
The family home's the family home. There's pictures on the wall. There's 3 shirts on the wall, and I had nothing to do with them on the wall. You can't see them, and when you come in the house, they're away in the study bit, so they're not on show. I don't even know why they're up, to be honest. But not proud of them. Don't get me wrong, but family life for me is family life, and the kids aren't interested. So I don't really value material things. I value more.
No, that's nice that you, of course, value kind of the family time and things like that instead of material things.
I'd rather give some a shirt away. You know what I mean?
No,
for a charity. I'm sounding cheesy, aren't I? But no, I'd rather give stuff away. More value to them than me.
No, fair enough. Is there a person in football that you would class as kind of your friend and kind of your best friend in football, would you say is the best way of putting it?
It is a hard question, this. Really hard question. There's a few. There's nothing coming to the forefront of my mind. I speak to Jed Wallace quite a bit, who's at West Brom now. Stevie Davis was one of my best mates and still is. Who I was at Derby with. Yeah, that's it. I'd single out them two.
Nice. We're going to kind of move away from football a bit now with my questions. So, a go-to karaoke song for yourself. So, of course, you've probably done many initiations in your time.
So easy, this. Buffalo Soldier.
Do you get everyone involved in it? Is it quite a slow song and people should know the words to it, or is it kind of you're on your own a cappella?
I think people around me, because I've sang it that many times on karaoke, I think they know the song now. But I love it.
No, that's a nice one, and it's different. It's not a generic karaoke song. If you went into like a karaoke bar, you wouldn't hear that. That's not a kind of one that you hear a lot. So no, it's nice.
That's been sung on in the hole in one in Villamora on the marina in Villamora in Portugal a few times.
My next one is, if you had a chef with you now to make a meal, and he'll get you one thing to eat and one thing to drink, what are you choosing?
I'd have a glass of Vimto.
The fizzy one or just the squash?
Just the squash.
Okay,
going a bit posh, it'd have to be from a bottled water. I don't like tap water.
Fair.
And I like Chinese curry.
Fair enough.
My favourite.
So my follow-up question is if you could choose only one person to come and have the meal with you, who would you choose?
Wow, you put that on me. One person. You can get three. One person.
I changed it because I know you've got 2 daughters and a wife, so I was like, I knew that you could potentially go, I'll choose them 3. So I changed it to 1.
No chance. Jesus. These are supposed to be quick fire as well, aren't they?
Okay.
I'd like to meet Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan? No? I'd say he's very up there. I mean, doing the podcast myself.
Up there, isn't he, for you?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that how he commands a conversation and how his transitions into the next thing, that's what I'd want to pick up off him and try and learn.
So on your podcast, is this going to get edited, sorry?
It depends. It depends on what happens. So I try and make it as natural as possible because, of course, people in life do they do have moments to kind of pause and think. Whereas if you edit that in my mind dehumanises someone and it makes it look perfect.
I love that aspect of it. That's amazing. So my point is really, I like Joe Rogan because it's just literally, and I've been on your Instagram page and you've got every walk of life on there.
Yeah.
So, and Joe Rogan's similar, so yeah, brilliant. I love it. Keep doing it.
No, thank you. I've got one last question for you, and you'll have to think back to your time at Derby for it. When you were in Derby, what was kind of your gem of Derby? So like maybe a place that you used to go or something you used to do around Derby that you kind of think, if I could bring someone to Derby and show them that, it's kind of a nice place to go or a nice thing to do.
Well, I lived in Alice Street and I loved the park and I had a dog. I've still got a dog now. Unfortunately, that dog's passed away that I had at Derby. And I would say Alice Street Park, which I absolutely love because I used to be able to walk there from my house.
Yes.
We used to have family down all the time. So restaurant-wise, we always used to go to the Enoki.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's still there because I haven't been there for years.
Yeah, there's the one on the A38 still. And then there's the one in the town centre as well. Yeah, that's still there. Literally went on Saturday, so yeah, it's still there.
Is the food still banging? Yeah,
it's still good. They do a thing now where I think it was like £30 for a course, and then they gave you unlimited rice, unlimited naan, and then they gave you like poppadoms at the beginning and like some ice cream thing with dry ice at the end. So worth it.
Yeah, if I ever get back there, I'll have to go there. But yeah, that's what we used to go. The two places, I know a bit random, aren't they? But
they're nice. I mean, Alistair Park is nice, and it's nice to wander around, and it's kind of more out the way, so it's not a busier park. And I mean, Oakey's amazing, so I rate it.
Yeah, absolutely, I loved it.
Just to finish up, of course, where can kind of people find you online, as well as like, of course, you play for Stoke, so kind of at the games and stuff like that.
I am on Instagram, which how we acted. I'm not on Facebook or anything anymore. I'm on one social media platform, and it's Instagram, and I think I'm called Frank Fielding Junior 1.
Nice.
So it's JNR1.
And I mean, when this goes out, when the post goes out, I'll tag you in it anyway, so people should be able to find it that way anyway. But
100%.
Thank you for coming on and kind of going through the questions in your careers. It's been a pleasure to have you on.
No, absolutely my pleasure, mate, and good luck and keep doing it.
No, thanks very much. Take care.
No worries. Thanks, bud.
Want to know what's happening within Derby's black community? Or perhaps you have a story of your own to share? Then look no further than Majatu, your one-stop source for local African and Caribbean news. With our digital news platform and quarterly print magazine, keep up to date on all of the latest in arts, entertainment, food, sports and more. Find us online at mojatu.com.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Peaking to Success podcast. If you enjoyed, please make sure you follow us on Spotify as well as Instagram, where you can see all the updates of who is coming up, as well as who has already been on the podcast, as well as Twitter, where there is information and interaction from me on there as well. Thank you.
The Bless is open every day from 12 p.m, serving a wide range of beers, ciders, real ales and spirits. Their kitchen also provides handmade pizzas, loaded nachos, chicken strips and ice cream from 5:50 to 10:30 Monday to Thursday and 12 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Friday, Saturday and Sunday. The pub quiz is very popular with anyone that enjoys a good beer and a bit of a laugh with their mates. Taking place every Wednesday at 9 p.m, there's loads of prizes to be won, including £50 drinks vouchers for the winners and a bottle of wine for the best team name. Everyone's a winner. They also have a spacious function room available to hire that can hold up to 100 people. Wow, that's a lot. Perfect for birthday parties, work events, weddings and wakes. The Bless really comes to life at the weekends with their branded nights of Stone Love and Fully Loaded, where the DJs play alternative, indie and rock music spanning the generations until the early hours of 2 a.m. There really is something for everyone in what is arguably Derby's best pub.